What's going on, everybody? I'm back with another Prize Picks NBA player props video coming off a slate yesterday that wasn't too great, only a two-gamer. We have a beautiful slate tonight. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 games. Ton of value on the board. Been grinding in the background research. A bunch of different props I was able to capitalize on before the bumps on all sorts of different sites. We have fantasy score props dropped, which I'm excited about because I got two that I really do like to share with you guys tonight. I'm feeling really confident about these. Like I said, a much better slate than only that two-gamer yesterday, so we have a lot more options. I've already dropped a ton of different plays in the premium. The fantasy scores tend to not be bumped quite as much, so my hope is, throughout the season, I'm going to try to grind on the back end, get all my premium, the best value as I possibly can. And then you're probably going to see a lot of fantasy score props from me on these videos because these free videos, a lot of the plays are going to get bumped. So I do still want to provide you with as much value as I can for free so you can get these picks in. And beautiful slate to do so today. Like I said, I got two fantasy score props that I really do like. If you are getting very serious, though, the premium content's going to be where it's at, guys. Like I said, I already dropped a ton of plays. I have 4 Prize Picks VIP tickets I already dropped, 4 underdog tickets, and 3 parlay play tickets. So been able to take advantage of a bunch of different value on all different apps, guys. If you haven't signed up for Prize Picks, you can sign up today and use the promo code KJK DFS. When you sign up, you will receive an instant match on your first deposit up to $100. Same goes for those other 3 apps that I had mentioned. Parlay Play, Underdog, Fantasy. Would highly recommend you get as many as you can to detect the value. But let's get into it. Going to give you guys 2 picks. Like I said, 2 fantasy score props and 2 that I really do like, with it being a much larger slate compared to yesterday. We kind of had to go with 2 meh picks. Tonight, love these ones for you guys. So let's talk about it. We'll go game by game, as we always do. And the first game that I would like to discuss is going to be the Toronto Raptors taking on the Chicago Bulls. This game comes in with a 217 over-under. It is a 2.5-point spread in favor of the Chicago Bulls. And the Toronto Raptors are one of the most predictable teams in the entire NBA when it comes to minutes. They play their starters heavy minutes. They tend to have a very tight rotation up until, when they're dealing with some injury news. And they have a guy that is massively underrepresented on Prize Picks in the fantasy scoring department in Scotty Barnes, a guy that played in the upper 30s in the first game of the season. Now, obviously, guys, we're going to be dealing with a limited sample size for a little bit, but the 2 guys that I'm going to discuss in this video have been in the league for a while, so we kind of know what they're about. Scotty Barnes, 37 minutes last game. He put up 47 fantasy points, 25% usage rate, putting up 1.39 fantasy points per minute. This is a guy that's going to play in the mid to upper 30s. Like I said, the Raptors are one of the most predictable rotations in the NBA, which we love. Some teams, there's a guy that on the bench, like that's a 6-man, that if he gets hot, he's going to come off. I guess you could say Gary Trent Jr. is that guy for this team, but at the end of the day, with their closing lineup, we know Pascal Siakam, Scotty Barnes, and OG Anunoby are going to be in there unless one of them gets in foul trouble. And Jakob Poeltl, Dennis Schroeder, like I said, throughout the season, you can just tell the Toronto Raptors rotation and who they're going with. They're very predictable, which is really nice for us. Scotty Barnes is a big staple of this team, and he's a fantasy point per minute beast in the Prize Picks fantasy scoring format. Like I said, 1.39 fantasy points per minute. If he's going to play in the 30s in minutes, Prize Picks fantasy score, they have him just massively underrepresented. It makes no sense. He's in the low 30s on the Prize Picks format. You can see last game out, had a great game, and it's no surprise. Scotty Barnes can do it in so many different ways for you because he can rebound the basketball, he can shoot the basketball, he can get you assists, and he can get you blocks and steals. So, like I said, fantasy scoring format on Prize Picks, I mean, this guy is the full package. 37 minutes, he went 6 for 16 from the field, 1 for 4 from behind the arc, 4 for 6 from the line, 8 rebounds, 5 assists, 5 blocks, 2 steals, and 17 points. A guy that has that kind of peripheral upside with the blocks and steals on a Prize Picks is just an absolute cheat code for the fantasy scoring format because you get 3 points for every one of those blocks and steals. You'll hear me talk about that frequently throughout the season. For those of you that don't know how the Prize Picks fantasy scoring format works, this is what you're looking at. 1 point for every point, 1.2 for every rebound, 1.5 for every assist, 3 points for every steal, 3 points for every block, and -1 for those turnovers. So Scotty Barnes, what I just pulled up the numbers, we're talking about a guy that put up 1.39 fantasy points per minute. and he's going to play in the mid-30s to upper 30s, and they have him in the low 30s fantasy score. It makes no sense to me. That's why I love this play. I think I broke it down pretty clearly for you, but the guy is just way misrepresented over here on Prizepicks, and don't tell me they took him off the board as I'm recording. There's no way. There's no way. Well, looks like Scotty Barnes is off the board as I'm recording. He was at 32.5 fantasy score. Absolutely love the play. That's frustrating, but I got 2 more picks for you guys in the fantasy score department that I still really like. We'll just kind of speed up along the rest of this video here for you guys to give you the last 2, because now I can't promote the play I was just going over. So we'll go down to the LA Clippers Utah Jazz game, because I do have 2 fantasy score props that I really do like in this game as well. And like I said, I'll try to make it quick, because that unfortunately just happened mid-recording of Scotty Barnes. So we'll go LA Clippers, Utah Jazz, 227.5 over under. Once again, 2 fantasy score props that I like. We'll start it on the LA Clippers side with Paul George. He's going to take on the Utah Jazz, 227.5 over under. It's a hefty total. We're looking at Paul George's production. It's going to kind of match the theme of the video I was planning on going with anyways, I suppose, because Paul George is a guy that is a shooting guard, small forward, combo guard, similar to Scotty Barnes. He's going to get you a lot of blocks and steals. Who's also going to score, pass the basketball, rebound the basketball, do all the above. We saw him put up, as far as in the season, 45.8 fantasy points per game so far. He played in the low 30s, 1.42 fantasy points per minute. So a similar situation here is what we just talked about with Scotty Barnes, of where his minutes and his fantasy point productions going to make him be able to surpass his fantasy score prop over on Prizepicks. And his line is set at 38. So I'm taking the over here on Paul George, 38.0. I think he's going to score, in the mid to upper 40s here as far as my latest projection on Paul George. I got a projected for 44 with a ceiling of 50 plus. Utah giving up a bunch of points to opposing shooting guards, and this is another prop that I like. So sorry for the long-winded waste of the explanation of Scotty Barnes. I can't control they take these props off the board. I really like Scotty Barnes if they post him back up. They had him at 32.5. A little bit of a free pick for you guys, I suppose, just in case they repost him. I do have him projected for about 38, so upper 30. So as long as he stays in the low to mid 30s, the Scotty Barnes was going to be the initial pick that I really like. But I like Paul George a bunch as well. So this is just a matter of they took him down as I'm recording. It's not that I don't like Paul George. I was just planning on going with Scotty Barnes. But Paul George over fantasy score 38. I think it's a phenomenal pick as well. And this one's still one that I really like. Just kind of took a step back there recording to make sure I gave you 2 more I really like. Here's one of them. And then pick number 2. On the other side of this game, this was going to be the guy I was going to pair with Scotty Barnes initially in the video, Lauri Markkanen. 111.75 implied total. Similar story with Scotty Barnes of just being misunderrepresented. You look at the production for Lauri Markkanen, 1.2 fantasy points per minute, 24% usage rate, 31.6 minutes per game. He put up 39 fantasy points in the opening game. I think we're going to see some similar production from him throughout the season. Once again, a guy that's going to play in the mid to upper 30s. If he's going to log those amount of minutes and produce at the rate he does, he's going to be going up into the 40s, similar as what we just talked to Paul George, and they don't have his line represented at that 40 marker. So Paul George is better represented than Lauri Markkanen. And I have both these guys projected for in the 40s. So it looks like Scotty Barnes might just be off the board. But Lauri Markkanen, another fantastic play. Similar to Scotty Barnes, Paul George, he's going to be out there, log big minutes. He can score, he can pass, he can rebound. I've got him projected in the low 40s, 42 right now. 35.5 just clearly way too low. With that being said, pull up the game logs. I always like to give you guys a visual. I was going to talk about that with Scotty Barnes. Got a little off track there, but Paul George, just kind of see how he got the job done in that opening night game. He's once a guy that can get you a lot of steals. 3 rebounds, 6 assists, 3 steals, 27 points. He can score, rebound, assist, get blocks and steals, and the same thing can be said for Lauri Markkanen. That's all stuff obviously factored in the projections that I'm discussing, but 10 rebounds, 1 assist, 2 steals, and 19 points. So well-rounded players expected to play in the mid-30s that produce, at above a 1 fantasy point per minute clip, 1.2, 1.4, 1.5. If they're going to be playing those minutes, producing at that rate, Prizepicks has them, in the mid to upper 30s. I've got them both getting into the 40s. It's just too low of a score. Scotty Barnes I had, getting into the upper 30s, and he was in the lower 30s. So if they repost him, there's another free pick for you. That'll be 3 picks. I guess the official picks on the video are going to have to be Paul George's over fantasy score at 38.0. Once again, I think these are really solid. I just immediately kind of shut down the Scotty Barnes breakdown and pivoted to these because I do like these a lot. So that'll be pick number 1. And then pick number 2, we're rocking with the over 35.5 fantasy score for Lauri Markkanen. My initial 2 was going to be the over Scotty Barnes fantasy score over Lauri Markkanen fantasy score. I like those a lot, but I also do really like Paul George. So luckily we have a big enough slate to where I didn't have to really, give you guys a much worse pick. Paul George, phenomenal pick too. That will be my 2 picks to get you winning some money over here on Prizepicks in the NBA tonight, guys. Hopefully you enjoyed. If you did, hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, hit the notification bell so you don't miss any future content that I upload. It's free. It takes 2 seconds to do. It does really help me out. Once again, sorry for the Scotty Barnes prop being pulled, but the premium content's going to be where it's at. If you want to get access to all my tickets, all my picks as soon as I place them, you would have already locked in that Scotty Barnes prop at the 32.5 line, which I loved. I was really looking forward to sharing that with you guys, but Prizepicks messed up, and they knew they messed up, so they took them down. But anyways, thanks for tuning in, guys. Wishing you all the best of luck on your Prizepicks NBA player props tonight, and we will see you in the next one.